It's been well over 400 days that I've sat down to make a long form video for YouTube. Honestly, I didn't plan to leave this long, but God had other plans ready for me, and I finally listened. I've been on YouTube for a very long time, and through my successful and unsuccessful eras of my time on here, I spent a majority of that time feeling abandoned, discouraged, and just not good enough. I let those feelings become my identity and ultimately define my worth. Before I knew it, it weaseled its way into every area of my life, and everywhere I looked, I would see that reality reflected back to me. I was no longer practicing what I was preaching. I got stuck into hustle culture thinking that would solve a lot. I ended up constantly feeling like a failure day in and day out because I wasn't getting results, and all I was doing was burning myself out. I was putting hours and hours and hours into the machine, and all I was getting back was silence, and that silence got loud. Community was lost, human connection was lost, it felt gone, and I was measuring my self-worth, my worth, by who showed up. This whole YouTube thing was no longer fun anymore. I felt like a hypocrite. My whole channel is about helping you navigate hardships and doing better for your life. But behind the scenes, I was struggling through things that I didn't have the answers for. And I felt like fraud. And so I would tell myself, Stacy, you can't give advice when you can barely find the motivation to get yourself out of bed today. I convinced myself that I had to be healed or in a better place before I allowed myself to give any advice to you again. And that pressure froze me up, and it just silenced me. And all the time, trying to find myself again. I realized one thing really, really clearly, and that was that I missed the craving for connection. And a huge part of the reason why I stepped away was that it felt lonely here. And I know that there are thousands of you on here, and I am ever so grateful for that. But before I left, the silence in the comments was getting really loud. I felt like I was talking into a void, and I started to feel abandoned and being completely vulnerable. I felt unliked. I felt unworthy. And I realized I was desperate for human connection, and I wasn't feeling it. So, is old Stacy gone? Not exactly. The part of me that wants to help you through hardships and that wants to talk about identity, relationships, working on yourself, growth, all of the beautiful things, that part is stronger than ever. And even though a lot changes in 14 months, the heart of this channel hasn't changed. The old Stacy measured her worth by who showed up. The new Stacy is just here to show up for you. The new Stacy is far better equipped with an upgraded perspective on so much of life and love. I'm still the friend that helps you navigate through life's messy parts. I'm just as dedicated to helping you smile and get through the hard days as I ever was, except now I'm doing it from a much healthier place. But I don't want this to just be about me and why I left, because the reason I make these videos is for us to get through life together. In the last 14 months of silence, I learned 3 really hard lessons that I think some of you might need to hear right now. The first thing I had to face was my identity. I didn't realize how much of my self-worth I had accidentally tied to this. To being Stacy who helps people, Stacy who posts videos, Stacy who is productive. And when I stopped uploading, I suddenly felt relieved. But then down the road, I ended up feeling emptiness. I caught myself thinking, if I'm not creating good content, if I'm not making videos that are helping others, what am I even good for? What is my worth? What do I even have to offer the world? And that was terrifying to admit to myself. I had to really sit with the uncomfortable truths that had been brewing within me for so long. Tons and tons of limiting beliefs that had been crippling me without me even realizing it. One of those things was that I am more than my productivity. And I want to tell you that too. You're not your unwanted current situation. You're not your setbacks. You're not the things that didn't happen for you, or your job title, or your relationship status, your bad experiences, your setbacks, or how busy you are. Your value doesn't disappear or lessen just because you're not achieving something at this very second. You aren't defined by those things. You're allowed to be on the path that you're on currently, because that path is leading you to the next season that God has in store for you. The second lesson was about rest. I used to see rest as a reward, something that you earn after you have completely burnt yourself out. And if I wasn't exhausted, I felt so guilty for just sitting down to relax. But being away from this channel and allowing God to work through me forced me to see rest and life differently. Burnout recovery isn't lazy, and it isn't quitting. It's essential maintenance. And I realized me stepping away wasn't quitting or weak. It was actually the most responsible thing that I could do. If your body and your mind is screaming at you to take a moment to slow down, please listen to it. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And sometimes the most bravest and beneficial thing that you can do for yourself is say, I can't keep going at this pace anymore. And actually pause. Change requires change. And with change comes challenges, and challenges oftentimes brings about fear. I'll be honest, I was kind of scared to turn on this camera again. And I kept thinking, what if those who are subscribed and who are still here watching are gonna be turned away and like not want to watch anymore? What if I've lost my momentum? What if I become paralyzed by fear and I stop making videos again? But time and time again, I've learned that it's okay to outgrow the versions of you that you thought were exactly who you aimed to be. In fact, you're supposed to. And it's okay to hit the reset button on your life, even if it feels like you're starting from scratch again, because you're not starting from scratch. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. So if you've been scared to restart something, whether that is a hobby, a goal, a redefinition of you, therapy, a fitness journey, or just trying to be simply happy again, we can be in this uncomfortable starting again season together. So I'm back to encourage you in life, back to build a strong community with that human connection, because I don't want to just talk at you anymore. I want to talk with you. I want this to be a place where neither of us feel lonely, where it feels safe, relatable, calm, peaceful, strengthening, and where we belong. A lot has changed for me in the last 14 months. I want to know about you. Please tell me about one big change in your life since we last spoke in the comments. I'll be there reading them all. And once you've shared that with me, ask me a question. I'd love to do a Q&A so we catch up. It's been quite some time, as you know. 14 months of being gone definitely asks for a Q&A. So if you have a question you'd like to ask me, please put it down there. Even if it's advice, I'm happy to hear it. Of course, all I ask is to just be respectful. And if you'd like to see more of where I've been, wow, I'm a little rusty. It's somewhere out here. And I'll catch you there.